Kickstarter didn't just create a new way to fund ideas, it created a gold rush. For a few years in the early 2010s, everybody thought that they could be the Kickstarter of something. Need a book published? There was a site for that. Want to fund your band? There was a site for that too. Want to crowdsource a surgical procedure? Wait, what? Yeah, turns out there was a site for that too. Welcome to Kickscammers, the show where we look at cumbersome Kickstarters, insane Indiegogos and gaudy GoFundMes. And yes, I've said it many times before, but just in case you don't know, it may surprise you, but I actually like Kickstarter. I have backed so many great products on that website, and although I mostly cover the campaigns that took your money and ran for the hills, crowdfunding as a whole is something that I find truly fascinating. So for today's video, I want to do things a little bit differently. I want to go back and I want to find the competitors to Kickstarter, the Kickstarter Killers, if you will. And boy oh boy, have there been a lot of them. None of which actually killed Kickstarter, I'd like to add, but still, they are worth talking about, as some of them, well, you will not believe that they ever existed in the first place. The internet used to be a very, very different place. Let's do this. To understand Quirky, you have to understand Ben Kaufman, a chap that had no issue taking the odd risk. I mean, at 14, he had his own website design company, and by the age of 21, annoyed that he had left his earphones at home for his iPod Shuffle, went off and created the Song Sling, a case that combined earphones into the case, which resulted in his second company, Mophie, a smartphone accessory company which he eventually sold and is still around today, I'd like to add, as the equally terribly named Zag. And by the age of 23, he finally worked out how to name a company, and that company was Quirky. The pitch was simple. Why should a few executives in a boardroom decide what products exist? Let the internet decide. If 50,000 people vote for something, Quirky will make it. Let's check out some examples via the Wayback Machine. Paintbrush lids for your bottles, ice molded facial features for your snowman, a dustpan and brush for your feet. Oh, and by the way, that one actually did get funded, and simply, that was the issue. Yeah, sure, in the early days they had some genuinely great inventors come along and design something like the Pivot Power and the Cordies, a flexible surge protector and a cheap rubber cable management respectively, that became so popular that you could actually find them in big name shops like Target and Bed Bath & Beyond. But for every good idea, you had 15 stupid and pointless ones like the, the all-in-one barbecue tool, spatula, knife, tongs, fork and bottle opener. I call it the Spa-Tong Forkula. I am so gutted that this image no longer exists via the Wayback Machine, as I desperately wanted to see what a Spa-Tong Forkula would actually look like, as it was actually getting quite a lot of love in the comments. Toasty! And you know what? I did find it. I found the name of the original creator, reached out, and he showed it to me. Time to eat my own hat, because this, along with his own invention, the Steak Grill Wrangler, were tools that did make it to market, and they too made their way into different big name shops and sold pretty damn well. Apologies to Pete the inventor, yours was one of the good ones. Still, my statement still stands. That for every good campaign you had plenty of truly stupid ones. At the end of the day, it all boiled down to the math. 1. The 30-day rule. Kaufman boasted that Quirky could go from an idea on a napkin to a finished product on a shelf in only 29 days. And in the world of hardware, that is insane. There was just simply no time for proper market testing or proper quality assurance in that small time frame. 2. Because Quirky were the manufacturer, they were the ones that had to pay for the molds, the plastic and the shipping for every single invention. So when items like the Egg Minder, which was a $70 smart egg tray that tells you which eggs you should eat next from old to new, came out, and it was a buggy, useless mess that very few people wanted, Quirky were the ones that were left holding millions of dollars in plastic trays. And finally, free. Quirky promised to pay a percentage of every single sale back to the original inventors, which of course squeezed their profit margins until they were razor thin. By 2015, the Quirky factory was on fire. I mean, not literally on fire, but they were burning for about $10 million a month just to keep the lights on, and no amount of digital egg trays were gonna save them. Eventually, the tech company Wink, which was of course the tech side of the Quirky company, was sold for a fraction of its value, whilst the rest of the company filed for Chapter 11. Simply put, they tried to be a tech company, a design firm, and a global logistics giant all at once, but in the end, they proved that whilst the crowd does indeed have a lot of ideas, they don't always have a lot of common sense. That and trolls. I mean, you've got a lot of trolls out there too. Honestly, I've got no proof of this, but surely groups of trolls got together to fund plenty of stupid stuff too, right? I mean, surely. If it didn't happen back then, it most definitely would happen in this day and age. Founded in 2009 by musician Benji Rogers, PledgeMusic was the cool alternative to Kickstarter. Whilst Kickstarter was for everything from board games to coolers, PledgeMusic was purely for the craft of music. It didn't just offer a CD, it offered behind the scenes access. You weren't just a buyer, you were a pledger. For the first time, fans could buy a piece of the musical process, signed set lists, private Skype calls, and even an artist's old guitar. The site became so popular by 2017 that it became the go-to place for this being the most universally loved and popular thing in the world, music. The model was simple. An artist launches a campaign and then fans pledge money, and once a particular goal was hit, the artist gets a portion of the funds to record and manufacture the album. And it wasn't just smaller indie groups that used the site. Similar to YouTube, when the big boys noticed that you could make a living off of this underground busker to band formula, they jumped on board too. According to popular sites that covered the downfall of PledgeMusic, you had big names like U2, Rod Stewart, the Dandy Warhols, Razorlight and the Killers. They all had a go and they were successful. But unfortunately, there was a problem with the crowdfunding nature of this website. Unlike other platforms that held your funds in escrow, PledgeMusic's leadership began to treat the fan money as a giant singular slush fund. As the company's operating costs grew and its investments failed, they began borrowing from one artist's campaign to pay for the ever-growing debt that they incurred. And only 1 year later, in 2018, some artists, after hitting 100% of their funding goal, were strangely unable to withdraw the money to pay for production costs or pressing plants, as the withdraw button just simply stopped working. And the excuses were pretty standard. System upgrades, banking delays, management changes, all the expected classics. As behind the scenes, the company was in a death spiral. They had burned through their capital and were desperately seeking a buyer. By the time the mask slipped, it was revealed that they hadn't just lost a little bit of the money, they had spent it all. When PledgeMusic finally filed for bankruptcy in 2019, the numbers were staggering. They apparently owed $9.5 million to artists of all size. More well-known bands claims that they had been lied to for months and months, and in the end they were owed $70,000, forcing them to personally apologise to the fans who were now out of pocket. And of course, the worst of all were the smaller startup bands who had paid out of pocket for production and studio time, expecting to eventually get reimbursed, but ultimately having to fall onto the sword of crippling debt. This wasn't just a business failure, it was a breach of the most sacred bond in music, the one between the artist and the fan. Fans saw their money vanish and artists were forced to apologise for a crime that they didn't commit. In the end, PledgeMusic didn't save the industry, it became the very monster that it promised to kill.
Any type of cosmetic surgery can be very expensive. One local college student has figured out a way to get some help for free.
27-year-old Denali is choosing to alter her appearance by getting breast implants, and she wants you and others to help finance the procedure through the website MyFreeImplants.com.
Yep, I have saved the breast for last. Oh boy. Launched in 2005 by entrepreneurs Jay Moore and Brad Bashir, the site was exactly what it sounded like, a crowdfunding platform specifically for breast augmentation. Now, unlike other crowdfunding sites where at the end of the campaign, if everything goes to plan, you're going to end up with a gadget, a game, some music, whatever it may be, this campaign's website, the campaign backer would get their rewards during the campaign's life. Long before Patreon or OnlyFans, MyFreeImplants operated on a pay-to-play social model. It wasn't just a donation, it was a transaction. Women referred to on the site as models would create profiles to share their stories and their surgical goals. In exchange for donations, male benefactors received access to private messages, exclusive photos, and credits that could then be spent to move a woman closer to her surgical goal.
I thought it was a joke. I got on there and I was like, okay, fine, I'll sign up. And I signed up right then and there. I got my first donation and it was $50 and I was ecstatic.
Here's something that you should do after you watch this video. Go to YouTube, well I suppose stay on YouTube and search for MyFreeImplants, sometimes with spaces, sometimes without. And look up the tutorials from the successful campaigners out there that teach you how to trick sugar daddies into giving you more money. Yeah, that's a thing that you can search on YouTube.
So it's really important that you get to know the guys, because if they feel like you're just talking to them to get their money, then they won't want to talk to you. You have to be legitimately interested in what they're saying. Because a lot of them really just want someone to talk to, strangers that is. That's how you make the most of your friendships, and you'll see that you get like random donations from those guys that just want to talk to you. So yeah, I got lucky because two of the guys that I was talking to were into I'm not really sure what the phrase is. Like sugar daddy? They were into that. Like they liked to give girls money. And I have to warn you, this site is exactly what you think it is. Like, it is not just a bunch of friendly guys just wanting to give their money away. Some of them are. I have met several of them. But most of the guys want you to take your clothes off and do things for them, which could be a variety of things. Some of them are against the rules on the site, so make sure you read the rules.
As you can imagine, a site like this got a whole lot of polarizing opinion. Whilst the founders defended it as empowerment through choice, critics were less kind. Outlets dubbed it as the creepiest crowdfunding ever and digital panhandling. The British Association of Aesthetic Plastic Surgeons, BAPS, said, "I thought I could no longer be appalled by the circus-like atmosphere surrounding plastic surgery, but this is really quite shocking. The invitation for women to post suggestive photos, sells personal items and chat with strangers over the internet in exchange for a breast augmentation is just plain degrading."
I know I already said that you guys need to read the rules, but one of the things in there is if you don't log in one time every 30 days, your account will get canceled. So literally, if your goal is $6,000 and you have $5,999 and you do not log in for over a month, you will lose all your donations and not make your goal, and you'll have to reset your account and make all of that again.
Now that I like. Imagine how good Kickstarter would be if it forced creators to log in at least once a month and give an update on what's going on. Even after they were successful, they would have to log in for about 6 months, I believe it was, and give future aftercare updates on what's been going on. I mean, I have no idea how Kickstarter would ever enforce that, but still, look, on paper, it's a good idea, right? So yeah, in exchange for mostly photos and videos, and supposedly items of clothing too, men will send money to get the job done. Obviously it isn't just that, it's often suggested by some ladies to essentially trick the guys into thinking you're their friends by sending them less risque pictures and videos too, like a house tour for instance.
Hey guys, I just thought I'd give you a little look around my house. Right, at the moment, we're in my bedroom. Bit messy at the moment. This is the bathroom. I've got to display my outfit as well. I've just been doing my nurse photo set. So this is the hallway. Now we're going to go into Brock's room, which is my boyfriend's little girl. Now this room's my favourite because it's really pink.
What? What are you doing? Get out of your daughter-in-law's bedroom, darling. My God.
Here's bed. All her toys down here.
So, what killed the MyFreeImplants website then? 1. Mainstream pressure. Platforms like GoFundMe took over the medical crowdfunding space, stripping away the creepy social credit system. 2. The creator economy. As Instagram and OnlyFans emerged, creators realised that they didn't need a middleman dedicated to a single procedure. They could just monetize their content directly. And 3. Payment crackdowns. Increasing pressure from banks to distance themselves from high-risk transactional models pushed these sites into the shadows. Now, that last one is a little harder to confirm. Supposedly, a lot of banks out there don't like to deal with websites like this. Apparently, this sort of thing still happens on OnlyFans and whatever other websites. A lot of banks, when they realise that this is a high-risk sort of website, they won't link themselves to that sort of material, meaning that in some instances, a lot of these models would give whatever they offer and then not get the money. Regardless of if that's true or not, you know what's crazy? Even though that site went under due to the reasons just mentioned, these sort of sites still exist. I've no idea how Get Cosmetic is any different besides offering more than just breast augmentations, but hey, here we are. And honestly, after looking at how popular the site is, I very much think it's an old relic that seems to just be one of those old school early internet sites that just still sort of hanging around, a bit like MySpace and Face Party. At the end of the day, MyFreeImplants ultimately became a digital ghost, a cringeworthy reminder of a time when the internet was just bold enough and just weird enough to try and turn a surgical waiting room into a fake social network. The lesson we've learned here today? It's a simple one. Being the Kickstarter of X sounds like a great business plan until you realise why Kickstarter stays as the king of crowdfunding websites. Managing money is hard. Manufacturing is harder. And trying to build a community around a single niche usually ends up with a lot of empty promises and even emptier bank accounts. Hey there guys, thanks for checking out the video. Now this video was originally going to be a 5-parter. I've got 5 different segments that I could have talked about in this video, 2 crazy other ones, one you should definitely know about. I kind of teased it at the beginning of the video because I was going to add it into this, but yeah, I mean these segments were quite long, so I ended up turning it into just 3 segments for this one, and I could definitely do another one if you are interested. Please do let me know down below. But yeah, anyway, this is the part of the video where I give a massive shout out to all of my patrons, all of my YouTube members, the people that get to see this video early, all all of these names that you see down here. Thank you guys so much for your support. Yeah, let's give some shout outs, shall we? Let's give a shout out to Stephen Hafner, Livestream, Paisley Simpson, Thomas Coyote Baxter, Dina81, Kematura, Villarreal, Derekuda, Enraged Gecko, Akatimo84, Ian Quell, Mind of the Unsane, XZX, Andrew Dalton, Bram Perez, British Video Game Nerd, Chev Matic, Chris aka Brackman, Conrad Constantine, The Action Saxon, Dina Insidious Bliss, Jay is Man Child, Jabberal Aiden, Jeff Mianowski, John Yaskatus, Keiju Samurai 1985, Livestream, Mass Reply, Mike Fallon, Nicholas Burtner, Paul Float, Retro to Next Gen aka Lou, Richard Alderjic, Robert Ramsey, Ryan Burford, Shadow Dragon, Swift Justice Peterson, The Sneaky Ferret, Vitas Varnes, and Ye Old Hamburglar. Thank you guys so much for your support. The next Kickscammer is already recorded. I've got the next video game related video as well, all about scammy video game related video, scammy add-ons for consoles, kind of like 32x type things, but that one was a real thing that came out and kind of did what it says on the tin. Yeah, these ones are proper scams. Excited to release that one as well. So yeah, if you want to check these videos out early before they come out, I'm working on them right now. Please do consider becoming a Patreon and YouTube member. But until next time, this is DJ Slope signing out, and hopefully I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.